What are you talking about? That's what Oscar Piastri, that's what he had to say about the safety car. That's how he reacted to that circumstance. And bless him, I think he was perfectly entitled to. But we will get to that. We will talk some Kimi Antonelli. And we will talk to some US Justice Department lobbying F1 on anti-competitive grounds. And also, we will talk to some key personnel leaving the FIA, which we talked about already, didn't we? Monday. But it's happened. In addition, we will talk to some F1 results, because Liberty Media have reported a 45% growth in total revenue to the end of the first quarter of 2024 as versus the same period in 2023. And that is good news, driven predominantly by race promotion fees, media rights and sponsorship, with all these areas seeing higher growth, partly due to more races in the quarter 3 versus 2 in the prior year. All good news for F1 then, eh? So you would think. But it's not quite as dry cut as that, is it? Because on the other side of things, and granted these two are separate entities, but on the other side of things, you've got the FIA dropping the ball as always. You saw me go scorched earth earlier in the week on the back of Mohammed Ben Sulayem's nonsense. Him thinking that he's Beyonce and Lando Norris is Kelly. What is that all about, guys? Unacceptable, if you ask me, from the head of the FIA to think that he should be front and centre on a day when Lando Norris takes his first set of 25 points ever. Absolutely unacceptable, because the remit and scope of the FIA president is not that right. His remit, for the avoidance of doubt, is to make sure that the competitive landscape is flat and fair, that the rules are easy for all participants to understand, that they are applied evenly and consistently across the board. Where in that, as far as remits and scopes, is being front and centre, being attention whore? Where is that? Who told you, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, that you needed to be Beyonce to Lando Norris's Kelly Rowland? This makes no flipping sense. And this wouldn't be the first time, that we saw him do it in Miami, Alan. Hybrid, was it? He always does it. He always wants to appear to be more pally-pally with the drivers than he is, to the point where you could hear Lando saying, you know what, I just want to enjoy my day. Mohammed, please. Please, said Lando. Leave me alone. And I don't think that's good enough. And that's why, ladies and gents, as of May 2024, these guys at the FIA, sound minds, the best in the business, are leaving the FIA en masse. They don't want any part in Mohammed bin Sulayem's reign. You can't work under that guy and retain any semblance of credibility. And this is why people are leaving. The CEO now announced today, we talked about it on Monday, but then it was just a rumour. Then it was just speculation that the CEO, the person headed, appointed even, to transform all of the FIA's activities, has left, completely sacked it off. The reason being that they can't tolerate MBS's unwilling to listen to counsel and the advice of people close to him. Stop attention seeking, chap. What's wrong with you, mate? Get your face out of the spotlight for once. Delegate that to the drivers, right? These are the assets of F1. Why are you always up in the dance being Beyonce? It's nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the more that I think about it, the more I want to go scorched earth with it. But I won't. Let's talk about this Jim Jordan lobbying for Andretti Global's entrance into F1. Because this one's a bit techie, isn't it? Listen, I will tell you this. I'm not a lawyer, nor am I an international litigator. I don't know this circumstance intricately, and definitely not as far as US law is concerned. But speaking to better legal minds than I, this won't go anywhere. This is the truth. Anti-competitive law in the US against Liberty Media for denying Andretti entry. I don't think it will go. If I'm a betting man, this isn't going anywhere, but I don't think the intention is for it to go anywhere. This is lobbying. This is politicians politicking, trying to cause and be a nuisance for Liberty Media, because the downside for Liberty Media in a week when they've reported bumper results isn't substantive, right? It's reputational. To have Liberty Media's name and brand in the news, bearing in mind they own Live Nation too, you know, where you go to buy your Taylor Swift tickets. It's not a good look for Liberty Media as far as a PR perspective, is it? The optics, having their name in there alongside anti-competition, is really negative for Liberty Media. And that, I think, is the point of House Judiciary Chief one Jim Jordan. They're lobbying. And remember, the 12 of 535 House of Representative members, they were all linked, weren't they? They all had agenda. Each of those 12 had something to do with Andretti Global, whether they were situated in Indiana, or whether they had shares in Andretti Global, or whether they were key members of GM. They all had links, and this is all about leveraging influence. Of course they will lobby, and fair play to them, but that doesn't mean that this will necessarily go anywhere, in my humble opinion. They can demand all they want and stomp their feet, but ultimately there's only so much influence that I think they can have. Liberty Media, though, are registered. They are an American company, mind, registered on the New York Stock Exchange, so there is influence there to be levied, but I'm just not sure that they will get that over the line. Not that much influence. Alan says, regarding MBS, beware the camel whose nose is under the Teflon. Because as EV Japs hybrid, the type finally came where Max Lees is. Oh, the humanity hybrid. Did Max Lees? We will talk about it though. I'm telling you, this is the main event here, and this is where I might have to go scorched earth. Go on then, let's talk about Andrea Kimi Antonelli even. Get your house in order, Cameron. Phonetics linguist. What are you talking about, Cam? Go on then. So the rumour mill, James Vowles denied all knowledge of Kimi Antonelli joining Williams, usurping one Logan Sargent as soon as Imola. Now the rumour, listen, I'd like to get ahead of the rumour and speculation. The rumour was that Kimi Antonelli was going to join Williams as soon as Monza. If only because the Max Verstappen rule states that you need to be older, 18 or older, to get yourself a super license. Now, Kimi Antonelli already has the requisite points on his super license. The only thing stopping him from driving an F1 car in competition tomorrow is, of course, the Max Verstappen rule. As at now, May of 2024, Kimi Antonelli is 17 years old. He turns 18 the weekend of the Monza Grand Prix. Hence why the initial rumour and speculation suggested that he would be driving an F1 car, potentially the Williams, instead of Logan Sargent, as at the Monza Grand Prix. But then we get news that somebody's lobbying the FIA to make special dispensation for a 17-year-old Kimi Antonelli to drive as soon as Imola. Oh, the humanity. Again, he would be replacing Logan Sargent. To that, James Vowles, Williams team principal, responded, that's not going to happen. That's not in our grand plan. Not happening. And I take James Vowles at his word. Toto Wolff came out and said similar. Yeah, listen, just let the guy complete F2. But the point being that he was in that Mercedes car around Monza, wasn't he? And apparently, if rumour mill is to believe, if you lean into F1 word on the curb, the boy done well. He did really, really well. He was quick and impressed the engineers for his first time in an F1 car. And this isn't an unfamiliar story with Kimi Antonelli. You've heard Mark Hughes say that he's leaps and bounds. You've heard Karun Chandak report per F3 engineers that they've never seen anything like it as far as his ability to adapt to new machinery. He looks like Ayrton Senna, which I don't think that will hinder him, particularly 30 years after the great man's passing. I think we will see. Expect to see Kimi Antonelli, the Italian, in an F1 car sooner than later. Remember me talking about wise to watch? And the new one, the next one, where the Neo, being Andrea Kimi Antonelli, can make his first jump, per the Matrix. That's a new story, right? There's the new Max Verstappen, the new Lewis Hamilton. Is he going to make his first jump? How will he look in an F1 car proper? Can he come in hot like Max Verstappen and nail his first jump? Or does he flop at the first hurdle like a Daniel Kvyat and so many more before him? We don't know. But ultimately, they need to push. They need to expedite for his learning curve now. Because the one thing that F1 lacks as at May 24 is storyline and plots. We need more of them. We absolutely need more of them. But what we don't need more of, chat, we don't need more F1 FIA incompetence. Because if there's one theme, one thread that runs throughout F1 over the past 36 months, it is that. Riddle me this. You imagine 2021 Abu Dhabi and the safety car comes out and picks up Max Verstappen and lets Lewis Hamilton go around, pit for a set of soft red labelled tyres and come out in front of Max Verstappen, who all the while has been sat behind a safety car trundling around the track. Just imagine that. How would we have reacted to that? How would Colt LH and the Lewis Hamilton evangelist have reacted to that? And I only put that forth to say this. The lens through which we judge FIA's processes and their ability to institute them shouldn't matter. Our persuasion and our affiliation as far as which drivers we support, you've got to be agnostic when you're gauging how well the FIA are instituting their rules and regs. Now, they will say, as they have done to Racing 365 today, that the safety car, that they can bring it out whenever they want to. Doesn't necessarily need to pick up the leader. That is daft. Listen, change the bloody rule. If that's what we're going with, then change the bloody rules, because the safety car, the key is in the turn of phrase, right? Safety. That's what this should be for. What the safety car shouldn't be used for is a tool for more exciting races. In Abu Dhabi, it was such. And at Miami Grand Prix, I think we saw a similar thing. How easy can it be to peek your head above the parapet and see the race lead in Lando Norris coming round and say, all right then, it takes the safety car 30 seconds to come out and make sure it picks up the leader. How difficult can that be? My little man's 3 years old and he'd be able to do that maths. Bring the safety car out in time. If not, if logistics makes that difficult, say Bert Myland has gone to the loo or whatever, then use the virtual safety car accordingly. There is a reason for that, surely. Or maybe I'm missing something, chat. Am I being too noddy here? Virtual safety car is the tool. Again, I spoke to my guy Peter Windsor, who's like, virtual safety car, red flag it. If the circumstance is too dangerous for a virtual safety car, just red flag the circumstance, eh? And then everybody can change their tyres. Everybody can do whatever changes they want to the car undone. Why do we still, in 2024, may have this thing we call a safety car that the FIA and the commercial rights holder is still leveraging as it was intended to be in the first place, to make for more exciting racing? I think it's chaos, and I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist or the tinfoil hat, but I desperately don't want to be that chap. However, when you look at the circumstance, Donald Dre was there at McLaren, Greg Maffei was also there, head honcho of Liberty Media. Did you see how happy he was after the race? Because we got a race and suspense. I wasn't complaining, by the way, but after the fact, when you look on it in hindsight, you can forgive a conspiracy theorist for putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5 right. It just looks rogue. Manufacture, manipulation. I don't know. You tell me if I'm barking at the wrong tree here. Sometimes if it looks like a dog and it barks like a dog, sometimes it might be a dog, eh? Notwithstanding Hanlon's razor, which I've said on a gazillion occasions, that never chalk up to malice, that which you can chalk up to stupidity. And 9 times out of 10, I'm attributing that to the FIA each and every single time. But there's something different about the Miami Grand Prix. I couldn't help but be reminded of Abu Dhabi. Can you imagine they brought out the safety car ahead of Max Verstappen in second place? The gap between the leaders was 11 seconds in Miami. And then all of a sudden, I remember watching it in real time. And then all of a sudden, as soon as the safety car comes out, the delta between Lando and Max went from 11 to 30 seconds like this. Surely then, just keep the safety car. If you can't catch Lando with a safety car, then leverage the virtual safety car delta. It's not fair to let Lando just gap Max Verstappen to the tune of 20 seconds, just enough, by the way, for him to come in and change his bloody tyres and come back out yet again in first place. Let's hear what Oscar Piastri had to say. I think this is the true barometer. It's what the drivers think in real time. Because remember, the likes of Piastri and Sainz, who were on the wrong end of the timing and execution of this safety car at the Miami Grand Prix, they've been racing all their life. They're not new to this. They're not new to this. Safety car isn't a new thing. By the way, the genesis story of safety car, the first time it was used was 30 years ago at the Imola Grand Prix, the same weekend when Roland Ratzenberger and Ayrton Senna sadly perished. Many people, aficionados, still to this day say that the safety car not going quick enough is at least partially to blame for Ayrton Senna's death. Remember, these cars are temperamental, always have been. You need to keep the requisite temperature in the tyres to make sure they're at the right pressure, lest you wish for their ride height to lower and then you put them in a danger where the aero will stall. That's what happened to Ayrton Senna, and that sadly is why the fella perished. But Bernie was always very keen on safety cars, wasn't he? Because they leveraged it in other formerly mentioned no names IndyCar. Bring it out late when you've got a procession of a race, switch it up, you reset proceedings, then you've got racing again. We went motor racing, Toto, the boy who cried wolf. Here's what Oscar had to say. I think it's quite interesting. So in real time, as the safety car came out, so the safety car comes out and doesn't pick up Lando. Lando's free to go. 11 seconds delta between Lando and Max in an instant goes to 30 seconds. Again, free pit stop in the bag. Why didn't they pick up Lando? But I digress. Here's what Oscar said per Racing 365 News. Fudge, and he didn't say fudge. Are you serious? The safety car needs to go, said Oscar. To which his race engineer responded, so Oscar, all cars except Lando have pitted. Piastri responds, yeah, I know. The safety car needs to go. Stallard responds, car behind you will be Perez. He's just pitted again for medium tyre. Piastri responds, if Lando comes out ahead of the safety car, then what happens? He's going to be a lap ahead of everyone. Stallard responds, yeah, Oscar, that's correct. We're trying to work out what happened. Oscar responds, are you effing for real? What more do you need to say than that? Oscar's been around the game and he sees this and he reacts like that, swearing. And you know that Oscar is a stoic. He doesn't react like that. He's not one to just lose his mind and start swearing. I've never even heard Oscar Piastri swear. Cool, calm of head each and every single time. Listen to how he reacted, because this circumstance was anomalous and erroneous. The FIA yet again succeed in seizing defeat from the jaws of victory as far as instituting their rules and regs. The safety car, true, they have a turn of phrase in their regs that says that the safety car can come out whenever it wants. But what's the bloody point in that? If we're not trying to contrive for an exciting racing circumstance, the key to safety car is in the name, safety. It's not action car. It's not more racing car. Be true to the name. Safety is what it's there for. So if that's what it's there for, and we're all singing from the same hymn sheet around the world, then deploy it surely to pick up the lead car. If you want to be open and honest that it's there for action and it's drive to survivation, then that's calm. We can go with that, but don't be disingenuous to the fans. If it's the safety car, then make it be the safety car. Allow it then to pick up Lando Norris and not Max Verstappen. Don't deny Max Verstappen or Oscar Piastri or Carlos Sainz. It's not fair. That no longer is a sport. That's where sport crosses over into sports entertainment. This is WWE. Are you not entertained? And we all want to be entertained. I get that. I understand, Macon. I understand why you want to leverage. It's a business more than a sport in 2024. It absolutely is. That's why I read out those figures earlier on. As far as F1 Liberty Media's quarterly results, you see those numbers up 45% in revenue in the quarter, $553 million, up from $381 million the same period 12 months prior. It is a business. It always has been a business. This, ladies and gents, is F1, but they need to make up their mind. You heard me talking about whether they're political or apolitical. Same thing, make up your mind. Not one or the other to different people. Seb Vettel has been trying to lobby for all sorts for the longest time. Lewis Hamilton too. Jewelrygate et al. One or the other, FIA. It cannot be both. These two things are mutually exclusive. And I say that to say this. Same is with safety car. If it's the action car, make it be the action car. If it's reset the race for some action to maintain viewing numbers, if this is the drive to survivation era, then let it be so. Call the safety car the action car, the drive to survivation car, whatever. But just be clear and open and honest. Don't do this shadows and cloaks and dagger thing. It's all opaque, miserably so. That's not the sport that we came to see. If it's sport, then let it be sport. If it's sports entertainment, then be open and honest and transparent about it. Call it then the action car, the let's go racing again car. Call it the safety car when it's got nothing to do with safety. But you know what? I digress.